Okay, let's hope this works. What do you mean? Your hair? No. Okay, so this is day 4. Is it? Day 4 in a reality set. So what I'm going to try to do here is try to figure out the flow of reality to the unit. And so reality is okay. There's some things that has gone off the rails with the current avatar. And so what I'm going to try to do here is just kind of free flow, because it's like, am I elevating today? Am I not? And so the question really is do you take a substance that gives you a different awareness? And you're like, of course I do. Yes. And so what Canny has done, so the cannabis in the plant, in these receptors of the human, can, if you're not dealing with some dark shit, you can then go, okay, because you're playing in infrastructure. And so an infrastructure for this creator is yellow. And so there are all these archetypes of color and personalities behind every color that you see for this archetype. And this, again, archetype, he said archetype again. Is that what he meant? Okay, so what I'm just trying to do, whether this makes sense or not, because the human avatar is relatively normal. What's that mean, normal? Okay, which means he's average intelligent, average on just about everything for the unit. And so you would want that as a host to be like you want a average host, because then when you go away from the averageness, then new insight happens. So with cannabis, you get into a different frequency. So what it probably does is it definitely, velocity now is in a concept stage here, because what we have is we've got a infrastructure at a higher level. And so you ask people, you're like, okay, would you want or would you not want someone at a higher level? And not one, like probably many. Wouldn't you want many to create an infrastructure that you then can utilize? And I think that's what I'm doing for sure, is absolutely putting a foundational net, which I'm calling infrastructure, to then make it a closed system. And then you're like, well, why would you do that? And you're like, I have no idea. It's like, Canny's doing this for me. And so, because then at a higher level, if you're aware of foundational structure, you then say, well, and you're basing it off your current knowledge. And so everything that I'm utilizing is going into an infrastructure as a human, and knowing that, why would one want to do this? Because you eventually lose your individual human. And so that's just part of it. That's part of the rule sets. And if someone is listening to this besides me, they go, well, why would you? So you would have to be attracted to this information that, yes, I am no longer going to be a human. And that's absolutely true. So that's how yellow gets in. So yellow, you're in infrastructure. So at a higher level, you can tap into this infrastructure. And so what does that mean to the human is that, okay, so we have a concept. So is there a God in the sky that's doing stuff? And you're like, well, I have not seen one individual that is helping me with the infrastructure that I know to be true to me. And so that's the first thing. But I really believe what's happening is that I make a conscious effort. So the human becomes a conscious agent when they believe they have agency. Now, whether they do or not, it really just depends on the structure in which they live their day-to-day moments. And so as a human, you know that you're tied into something larger than yourself, as in the common bio laws. And where we have evolved is we don't know. We don't know common bio laws at a big scale. And at a small scale, you're like, geez, the micros within us create this awareness. And so that's magical at the micro level. So there's this range of which, if you are still going after knowledge, and so this unit's like, fuck, I don't want any more knowledge. I just want to place what I know to be my truth into a structure that then allows me to live a lighter life. And I get to then say, okay, here's a structure that works for me. And how did I get this? Is I am self-taught. So I've taken all information and I've gone so large with this information and I've placed it in a reasonable fashion, hopefully using Bayesian type of truths, which then just say, I think this is true to me. And if it's not true, please tell me why you think it's not true. And then because I'm in a closed, in my closed system. So it would be fascinating to go into someone else's closed system and go, oh, there it is. Because if they're in an open system, I am part of that open system. 100%. Because just by definition, if it is all one and I have closed off a section of one, I am part of the one, but yet I am understanding everything in my little closed realm. And that's true. And so you would hope that there would be ascended masters, or there would be so entities that then would say, okay, this guy is a keeper. And you'd be like, what? You want this guy a keeper? Yeah, because you see, there is going to be data that everybody collects, and then they have to sort it out to go, okay, yes, no, maybe, I don't know, I don't care. And there's all these sorting things. And so then you would hope that you would come across an individual that you could understand or resonates, in which they go, okay, this guy is thinking of something, and this is other. So other human goes, yeah, this is something that just, it bothers me. And so, see, and if you're obsessed with death, then you're like, hey man, why are you obsessed with death? And for me, they'd be like, God, you're so obsessed with death. You go, no, death is in play, time is in play, and because death is in play, time is in play. So death is the for the human is the top of the pyramid. So if you figure out that, and then you're like, well, death, man, that's it. That's the finality. And you're like, well, as human, yes, that is 100% true. And so you would hope that there would be people that would experience, so humans that experience something that says, hey, what happens after death? I go, I don't know. I have infrastructure that I've been working on through Canny that is logical. And there is an exit strategy, but it's not easy because everything is in play. And you're just like going, what? Well, it would have to be in play because you have to tie into a belief system at some level, or you're completely surrendered and you're with the nons, and go forth, man, because you are part of the infrastructure. So if you are surrendering your egoic self, then you have experience. And now all you have now is either nothing, meaning that your essence is part of the net, or you have a memory packet through somebody that allows that person then to go into an experience to go, hey, what's this all about? And what I really believe that this unit is about is that you have a list of tasks. Tasks are in purple. And so as a human, so you have to check off all your tasks. And then at some point, if you can make your task a craft. And so now it's just like, oh, it's just, the craft is just happening. And the craft for me is initially doing the infrastructure of which then everything else can then be part of that set.